Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Emerald City Sports, the podcast. We are 2 weeks removed from Super Bowl 58. Obviously, we've had a little bit of time to digest what happened at that game. And honestly, it was a pretty entertaining game. I'm not even going to lie. So let's just jump right in. The Kansas City Chiefs won, and America technically, okay, America lost in quotation marks because there were people out there who
Loss.
had the Chiefs winning too. So Mahomes prevails once again, 25-22, and Swifties and only Kansas City, Missouri are happy. So I mean, it started slow, and then it really interesting. We were this close to a double overtime, by the way, so that was really cool to see. But just a lot of action, especially in those last 2 quarters, 3 quarters. So, Josh, what was your takeaway from this game?
Uh, I would say the biggest takeaway from this is I think the 49ers run of making it to the Super Bowl, I think it's over. I don't think they'll be able to make it over the top now that they lost this year and 4 years ago. They just can't finish it, and then yes, it makes the Kansas City Chiefs a dynasty, and now we're going to hate on them all of next year now. But for now, this year I called it Chiefs win.
You were really close to. You had them winning 26-22, and they ended up winning 25-22. Um, do you have the script, Josh? Do you have the script?
It's always that time. This podcast whisks up some weird and surprisingly accurate predictions from me.
Yeah, I mean, bro, you sound like a mind read. That was scary. That was scary how close you were too. Like 20, you're only 1 point off. And
If they could
really, if they
kick the
just
extra
kick the extra
point,
point in
yeah.
the overtime, then you'd be exactly right. But obviously, overtime, you get a touchdown, it's over. They did change the overtime rules though, so that both teams have an opportunity, which is a good idea. Which is a good idea now because if the Niners had scored right away, obviously no one would be mad about that because everyone wanted the Chiefs to lose. But clearly, like, both teams have an equal opportunity this time. Thank you, Bills. Um, and the Chiefs took advantage of San Francisco only being able to kick a field goal. Speaking of field goals, by the way, Harrison Butker should have won MVP. I said it. Come on. New Super Bowl record in field goals. I think he was like 4 for 4 on field goals. Set the game into overtime. Like, this guy, if he didn't kick 4 field goals, Kansas City would be nowhere near the competition that they were in those final 3 quarters. If it weren't for Harrison Butker, they would have been out of it by the fourth quarter. So I feel like he should have won MVP. Look, Mahomes, great game as usual, but I feel like they should have given it to the kicker, believe it or not. What else from this game was really interesting? I mean, Jawan Jennings threw the first touchdown for some reason. So not even a QB.
Yeah.
Imagine betting like $1 on Jawan Jennings throwing the first touchdown as a joke and then winning. Like, how much? That's like
I don't think you can bet on that.
you or like for just who throws the first passing touchdown.
Yeah,
Like,
I
not
know.
even a
That's so
QB.
weird.
That'd be really funny though.
And then he
Um,
scored a touchdown too.
Yeah, so if the Niners won, you would have almost guaranteed a Jawan Jennings MVP award. Travis Kelsey showed up in the second half with 9 catches for 93 yards overall. Meanwhile, George Kittle played like trash. He was like 2 catches, 4 yards or something like that. Really disappointing day for George Kittle. And I mean, Brock Purdy wasn't even that bad. I'm not like 23 for 38, 255 yards and a touchdown. That is solid enough, especially in the Super Bowl where the stakes are so high. Like, obviously, you would have expected more from a guy who is not supposed to be a game manager, but that was kind of just game manager stats. I mean, you could really compare these to Russell Wilson's stats in 48, where, I mean, Purdy probably played better than Wilson did in Super Bowl 48, but it just wasn't enough because that defense, like, really hammered them down in the second half, but also because Kyle Shanahan for some reason wasn't giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey. Like, when will Kyle Shanahan learn to run the ball in the second half? Like, I swear Christian McCaffrey got 0 touches in the third quarter. Like, it was, dude. Like, when are you ever gonna learn, Kyle Shanahan? And for like the third time, he chokes away a lead. Um,
Yeah, you just don't run the ball in the Super Bowl. No wonder.
yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe he just learns from
Yeah, it
Pete
was kind
Carroll.
of.
I guess just throw the
Yeah,
ball,
I know.
throw the ball, throw the ball. Yeah, I mean McCaffrey. I mean, I could see he was like afraid because McCaffrey fumbled it on the first drive, but like that was one fumble. He's rarely fumbled all year, and in the biggest game, you're gonna take the ball out of CMC's hands. Your biggest weapon, you're just not gonna use him, which I found like really really shocking, especially in the second half. Looks like okay. I was gonna say,
Okay.
I was about to say. What
Yeah,
else?
we're gonna avoid the technical difficulties here.
What else was really interesting this Super Bowl, Josh? You got anything? I heard there was like a streaker out there somewhere.
Yeah, there was a streaker. Some guy actually. Yeah, I've seen TikToks of people like, oh yeah, we're gonna bet that there's gonna be a streaker on the field, and then just hire a streaker to do. Someone did that again.
They did that
And
at
profited
Super Bowl 55, I
last year
think. Like where like
or 55.
the
Yeah,
guy bet on himself. The guy bet on a streaker that went out and did it himself. That's pretty smart.
alleged. Yeah, that is pretty. Allegedly, this year he won about 100 and some guy won 120,000.
Nice.
But it could be fake. Anyway, what was very important to me the Super Bowl was the score bug. Yes, we're getting to graphics and
Yeah.
that
I
kind
know.
of. We're venturing into.
Every year, the score bug. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, every year, I guess the network that hosts Super Bowl reveals the score bug. CBS's score bug, if you remember from the Super Bowl, was absolutely awful. It was one of your typical high school basketball scoreboards with a font that left extra space in between the name of the team and the numbers. It was just like really, really like plain. Yeah, sure, you don't want to do it over the top, but it just looked kind of okay. And I mean, if you're looking at that thing periodically or 3 hours every week, it should look, I would say, okay, but this just doesn't look okay. For the Nickelodeon though, which I actually watched some of the super I watched the third quarter on
Interesting.
Nickelodeon. I was like, hey, what is it gonna look like? They pulled it off. It was their score bug was SpongeBob theme, and they actually got the voices of SpongeBob and Patrick to
Yeah, they were commentating.
do the yeah, to commentate the entire Super Bowl and overtime. Yeesh. A lot for those guys to stay in character and not uh turn it non-family friendly.
Dude. Yeah, no, the score bug is basically just the old score bug, but like they just switched the team, like the name of the team left a little bit, and then changed the font. That was about it. Like, really, the scorebugs are not like there's really nothing fresh about them anymore. Like CBS really, I think peak CBS scoreboard was like when they debuted it at the Blackout Bowl, Super Bowl 47. That one looked really nice. And
Mm.
they honestly should have just kept it or like barely modified it from there cuz that one is like peak CBS score bug. And then same with like Fox. Like Fox peak was honestly like the really small. Okay, cuz I'm biased because it was when we were at our peak. Like the really small one
Yeah.
in the quarter here, like 2012 to
Top left.
2014. Yeah.
Yep.
That one is also peak. Um yeah, then the NBC. Okay, NBC's actually always got good score bugs. Honestly, like I think NBC's
Mm-hmm.
always got the best. But like CBS, Fox really got to go back to the old stuff because right, like everything just looks so generic on the screen now. Like it's not fun to look at, like you said, for 3 hours. How we feel about the halftime show? I don't know if you watched it. I watched like
I did.
majority of it. I thought it wasn't bad. I mean,
I watched
obviously, it would have
yeah.
been like more interesting 20 years ago when like Yeah came out and whatever, but like, um, I mean, it could have been worse. Like, I thought it was interesting. Like, at least he sang live, no lip sync or anything. Still got the good dance moves. Um, the Alicia Keys voice crack was kind of funny. There were so many guests there that I thought were like other guests, like the bald guy, Jermaine Dupri. I thought he was CeeLo Green for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I thought Will I Am was Kanye. Like, I could not even tell, bro. Like, they just yeah, okay. I'm just
So
gonna
generic.
I'm gonna stop there. Before I get canceled. But other than that, it was like it was a good show. I mean, you knew Usher was gonna take his shirt off. You knew he's gonna do something weird with the
Yeah.
roller, like he got roller skates, which was
Roller
interesting.
skates. Was able
Um,
to pull it off.
nah,
That was
that looked pretty good.
that
The
was cool.
stage looked nice. But like it was so weird because like back then, like the old halftime shows, you're talking like Beyonce, Bruno, Katy Perry, like those shows felt so action packed. Like these shows lately, they feel like way too short. Even though they're all like the same amount of time, like 13 to 15 minutes, the the
Yeah.
newer ones just feel like they're so much shorter because there's not as much action in them. Like I wonder who they'll get next year. But I mean, I give like Usher like B minus C grade for this. Like you weren't expecting much, but he still put out a show. I think. Um, I mean, is there really anything else to talk about? Oh, the parade. I mean, we gotta shout out. Okay, first off, we gotta shout out
Oh my god.
the fans at the parade because as if you didn't know, at the Kansas City Chiefs parade, there was a shooting that did break out, but thanks to some Kansas City Chiefs fans, they tackled the shooters and were able to get them, into custody. So, I mean, they deserve season tickets for that. Like, they deserve a lot from the Chiefs organization for being able to hold down those gunmen. Um,
Get it?
but
Now.
yeah, it's it was yeah, it's just unfortunate to see, especially at a parade where everything was like so happy from the start, and then it just kind of came crashing down. But shout out to those fans and to Chiefs Kingdom. I mean, this is why Chiefs Kingdom. I mean, even though the Chiefs are not a well-liked team, Chiefs Kingdom deserves a lot of love for this. I mean, they are a very passionate fan base, and they really showed it at the parade. All right, let's move the Super Bowl out of the way. That is in the rearview mirror. Let us talk a little bit about the Mariners because baseball season is coming up soon and they have just
Let's
started
go.
spring training. The boys are down in Peoria. Josh, more expectation this year to bounce back from last year, but we've got different players now. I mean, Gito Suarez is gone, replaced with Arias. There are a lot of new faces on this team. So, what are you expecting this year, especially at spring training?
Yeah, I mean they actually brought in so many more people than usual. Oh shit, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. There,
Whoa,
I
whoa,
thought you were
whoa, whoa,
frozen for a
whoa,
minute.
whoa,
They
whoa,
brought
whoa, 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 whoa! Did I just hear Josh
Oh no.
drop a curse? I think that might be the first curse word ever said on this podcast.
What?
Congratulations, Josh.
I didn't curse.
I don't know. I'll just say I think I heard the S word, but whatever. Go ahead, go ahead.
Wait, what? I don't I didn't say anything of the sort. I
Go
was
ahead,
trying to say that it
go
was
ahead.
frozen. I was trying to I will replay the
I'll
clip. I will
we'll run it back. We'll
after
run it
this
back.
I will say it, but I didn't mean anything but they brought in so many people that rather than usual that like I'm lost on how many people are new, who's in, who's out. We've actually made moves, and this spring training will hopefully help push them all together and give me some entertainment before the actual season starts. Because soon, in about a week, we'll have 1 month of spring training games, and then we open the season.
And they start this Saturday, right? Like it's starting any second. Like it's starting really soon. Like baseball, the off season feels
Yeah,
so
it's
much
early.
shorter, but that's also because like we have football during that off season, so it feels like time just flies by, especially as a baseball fan.
Yeah, they
Um,
start this Saturday.
yeah, that's crazy. Like is
War
already flying
days.
by. So we get to see J Rod back on the field. We get to see Kirby. We get to see Logan. We get to see Castillo. This is gonna be really, really fun to see. At spring training, Josh, which player are you looking to stand out the most?
Ooh, stand out. I would say George Kirby. I think can. I think is my guy who I think is going to stand out. Um, Help put a lot more value into this pitching rotation, and I think he can improve a lot better using. I think what is kind of weird. He's starting spring training by not pitching to a catcher, which I think is kind of weird. But I think hopefully it'll pay off, and then he can be that guy behind Luis Castillo, and maybe even past Logan Gilbert in our rotation.
Yeah, there's a lot of high expectations for George Kirby this spring season. I personally am looking more at Luis Arias. I know he just got injured, but like apparently something about shoulder inflammation. But I want to see how well he could fit into this Mariners lineup, especially since like when he was announced as coming to Seattle, there wasn't a lot of excitement. So I want to see if he can deal with that pressure of just people not really expecting much from him or expecting him to fail, and see how he applies that to his games in spring training. So I mean, he seems promising. I don't want to like be like pessimistic about it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Ooh, oops. All right, we'll see. We'll see how it goes with Luis Arias. Um, Another thing we got to talk about with baseball is Anthony Rendon of the Angels. This is a very interesting statement from him. A reporter asked Anthony Rendon at spring training if his perspective on the game has changed about like how passionate he is for baseball. He said, "It's never been a top priority for me. This is a job. I do this to make a living. My faith, my family come first before this job. So if those things come before it, I'm leaving." Um okay, look. Faith and family, of course, will come first before anything. But like when people play sports, they show a lot of most of the time they show a lot of passion, unless you're Nikola Jokic, which is probably what Anthony Rendon is trying to be, but is failing miserably at. Um, like that's just really a bad look for you, especially to say that at spring training with your teammates and the staff and the organization there, just right there, and you're gonna be like, I don't really try that much. I don't really want to be here. It's just a job. It's like the job that you have is a passion for millions of other people out there who would wish to be where you are at, and you have like a 7-year, $245 million contract, and it's just a job. I don't really want to be here. Like, where's the passion, dude? Like, okay, obviously Rendon's been atrocious for the Angels, so I could see why you would lose motivation there. But like, you're a baseball player. You're making millions. Like, that's a pretty nice life that many other people would want to have. They would do anything to just to be where Rendon is right now, and that money is guaranteed. So even if he plays trash, he's still making bank. And so, like, I would just say that would be a dream, especially just to play trash and get tons of money from it. But I don't know. What do you think about this, Josh?
I mean, I can take it one of two ways. First of all, it's a awkward, weird way to say that he loves his family and his friends, or he's trying to get like some sort of he accidentally is getting himself kind of canceled there. Sure, I get there's sometimes that you hate the sport. Rob Manfred is such an idiot sometimes.
Real.
Sometimes you have to deal with hard things or some situations that people don't talk about, like coaching or something that happens within the locker room that doesn't ever come out or something. But there's there is a reason why he got paid so much money. If he hated his job so much at he would play horribly, then he wouldn't have gotten this contract, and he wouldn't be with a major league team, and he wouldn't be starting for a what used to be pretty good baseball team until now Otani left, and now Trout is thinking about his future there. So there's a reason why he's there because he is still good. So I still think it's just a weird way to say he loves his family because he knows if he tanks too much, he's out of here.
Yeah, but even if he does take, I mean, he's leaving there with like 100 million in guaranteed money. So that's kind of nice for batting like 100 something or whatever he's batting. But just a really weird statement, especially on like the first day of spring training. So I mean, controversial. Did I heard he started the fight? Remember the fight between like Winker and the Mariners and
Oh yeah, Winker. Yeah.
apparently Rendon was the one that started that fight. So maybe just not a good guy overall or something. I don't know. All right, let's go over to the Seattle Kraken. Um, fifth in the Pacific Division. Coming off of All Star break, but it's not been the best. So a loss to the Flyers, a loss to the Devils, a win over the Islanders, a win over the Bruins, but then another loss to the Red Wings. So, Josh, coming off this All Star break, they look a little sluggish. How do you feel about it?
I don't feel good about the Kraken, especially with their track record after the All Star break. I mean, they got this big win over the Bruins, second place in their Eastern Division. Um, but somehow, some way, we have gone. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, no, you're good, you're good.
Okay, good. Somehow, some way, we have gotten back our games in hand somehow, uh, only 2 points behind the wild card spot, even though we've uh only gotten 5 points out of 5 games, just a point a game, because all the other teams have just absolutely sucked over that stretch. But I think the reason for this weird kind of stretch is because we are still playing Decord so much. Because of how good he was in January, how good he was at the Winter Classic, and because Grubauer was playing, still trying to recover off this injury. He played both losses to the Flyers and Devils, and he played the win against the Bruins, and he played in the overtime loss against the Red Wings. He played 4 of those last 5 games, and he only got one win off of that, which was the game after the one game Grubauer started, in which he won. Grubauer did win his only game that he started in that stretch because he's had so much rest while Decord has been trying to pick up the slack, and it shows that he is really tired. And that's not gonna. We need Grubauer to heal fast in order to give some Decord some rest time. But moving on, this Thursday we are playing against I would say our rivalry game. People might say Vegas against the Vancouver
Mother
Canucks.
Canuckers.
Canucks games are wow, mother. And
Hey,
then
hey, 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 it wasn't
after
me. The Rock. Okay, the Rock came up with that. Okay, Mother Canuckers. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I give credit to the Rock.
okay. It's like a weird way to get out of saying a swear word on this podcast. But after the Canucks, then the Wild. Both teams actually played against each other yesterday to a with the Wild winning 10-7. I know,
Jeez,
big score there.
that's a football
Yeah,
score.
with the Canucks gave up a 4 goal lead, so I think with their next game against us, I think we can hopefully put in the goals that they gave up quickly without them scoring back, and that's how we're gonna beat the Canucks. And in the Wild, I mean, they also gave up goals. Just off to the score. I mean, that's the name of the game here. Just score. We've kind of I mean, the Red Wings game showed that we can answer back to the Red Wings and force overtime. Um, but yeah, get the scoring groove back in, get the cord some rest, and the Kraken can actually sneak into this wild card.
Yep. So they are fifth in the division behind the LA Kings, the Oilers, Golden Knights, and the Mother Canuckers. So, like you said, Josh, just 2 points left to get into the wild card. So they are getting really, really close. But that means they've really got to win these games and get the points moving forward, especially in the games against the Canucks and the Wild. All right, Josh. Another sports season that is starting up soon is MLS, as the Seattle Sounders, with a new look, apparently, um, is gonna be starting up their season soon. Josh, besides the uniforms and the logo, what are your hopes about for this team?
Dang it, I can't back fall back onto the
Uh oh. All right. Finishing back, okay, continuing from where we, had technical difficulties here. Josh, what are you expecting from the Sounders this year?
um well, first of all, we couldn't avoid having technical difficulties this episode. Sadly. Dang it. We had such a streak going on, you know?
Yeah.
But for yeah, we did. For the 50th anniversary season of the Sounders, we got a brand new winger in Pedro de la Vega. Um still these I mean, other than that, no massive improvements with the roster. Nicholas Ladero retired, but we are still MLS experts, analysis people still set the standards for us to be second in the West, if not win it all, not win the West, if not win make a deep playoff run. So we still have these really big standards, even though LAFC has taken people from Europe. Miami is Miami for is still Miami with Messi. Um Columbus is still really good and hasn't lost anybody. Just still all these really big teams, and still we just have to keep with somehow our guys in this weird we're moving out of this weird championship team. We're slowly losing players that won in 2019 and losing players from CCL, including Kellen Rowe, who also retired, and Will Bruin, and just starting this new era with Pedro de la Vega. And I think this season, playing in the CONCACAF Champions League this year, um, and having this congested schedule will give more games for the Sounders to show their stuff, but also more chances for the Sounders to lose. So I'm looking forward for a nice and hopefully competitive season without any dry spells.
And any early predictions here, like who will be the MVP of the team by the time the season ends?
Oh, giving me another prediction question, huh? Um, I think, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say new guy coming in from Argentina, Pedro de la Vega, is going to be the MVP for the Sounders at the end of the year. I think he's just gonna click immediately. Um, well, hopefully clicking immediately at the end of the year.
Nice. Nice. All right. So the Sounders are starting to start their season soon. The Mariners are at spring training. Kraken near the end of their season. Let's go really quick back to football. Even though the Super Bowl's behind us, off season is here, and for the Seahawks, that is really important, especially on the coaching staff. We already talked about Mike McDonald being the new head coach, but he brought in some friends with him. A new assistant head coach and Leslie Frazier, which has been very much praised by a lot of experts because while McDonald is a young coach, Frazier is a guy who has a lot of experience. He's a veteran coach, so he can bring that experience with him to this coaching staff and especially to the players. You also got a new special teams coordinator in a Harbaugh, but not Jim Harbaugh. It is Jay Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh's son, who came over from Michigan. Um, Look, okay, people were like a little nervous about this because we saw how Michigan's special teams played in the Rose Bowl. But you know
Yeah.
what? With the talent on our special teams, I think Harbaugh can manage a good group, especially since the former special teams coach whose name I'm forgetting right now. He left behind a good squad with good players. I mean, you've got a crazy punter, you've got above average kicker, you've got a good set of special teams on the kickoff and punts. So I think Jay Harbaugh will lead a good squad, especially during this season. And then we have a new defensive coordinator in Aiden Durd. So that's going to be also pretty exciting. But the biggest excitement for this coaching staff is for sure offensive coordinator, where the Seahawks hired Ryan Grubb, who was the offensive coordinator of UW. Now, if you know what UW's offense
Yay.
was like, you know we are in for a treat, hopefully, with this Seahawks offense. Because, I mean, with the way UW's offense was going, you had like, Penix and Polk and Odunze and McMillan. They were crazy. Now look at what you could do with Gino and DK and JSN and Lockett as a question mark. Possibly, we'll see. We'll
Maybe.
see what happens with Lockett. Um, but like that, you bring that type of play calling from Washington to Seattle. It is going to be really interesting to see how this offense does. Look, it's always hard to move from college to the NFL, so we'll see if the scheme actually does work against NFL defenses. But it is really exciting to see a fresh look ish. I mean, it's still Seattle cooking, but we'll see how it looks like converting from college football to the NFL. And look, Mike McDonald and Josh Snyder are building a squad on that coaching staff, so it's going to be really exciting. I mean, this is a new young group minus Leslie Frazier. It is a young, hungry group of coaches. And look, the expectation isn't going to be that high this year because, new coach, it's going to change everything up. So, yeah, even if we do like above, like average, like 8 and 9, 9 and 8, 7 and 10, somewhere around that area, I wouldn't even be mad. Josh, how do you feel about these coaching hires?
I think I like the hires. Like McDonald, like the new head coach, offensive coordinator. I'm a little bit skeptical of because he's from UW, obviously, and I think the fact that these like really because you guys play really really offensive. I don't think that's gonna work I don't think his schemes are gonna work in the NFL. Though there is a certain Pac-12 coach that moved to Seattle and did really well
Yes,
previously.
sir.
So yeah, Pete Carroll. Uh, so obviously there's still a chance going to work out. Yeah, and then adding more Baltimore Ravens. Um, and then Harbaugh complete this. I would say this retool of the Seahawks coaching and giving them a lot of time to prepare for the season. Um, yeah,
Yeah, this is a really, really promising group of coaches, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I like that lax style that Mike McDonald has. He looks super chill, super like he'll be chill, but he'll get his point across. Like that's the kind of coach he seems like he would be. It's gonna be really exciting to see. Especially once we get to the draft, we'll see how they draft because Ryan Grubb coming in had people thinking, is Penix gonna be our QB? Maybe like Gino got his guaranteed money, so everyone was like speculating. I'm pretty sure he's gonna stay, but everyone's speculating like, "Ooh, are we drafting a QB?" Everyone was like, "JJ McCarthy as QB" because he was commenting on the Seahawks Instagram page. Like, a lot of speculation going on. We'll see how McDonald, Schneider, and the rest of the coaching staff handle this, but the future does look kind of promising in Seattle. In fact, the future looks promising in Seattle at almost every sport. Look, the Kraken's still a young team, but they are fighting for a wild card spot. Sounders are coming back up, and the Mariners are going to be back very, very soon. Seattle sports is starting to ramp up once again after that short little dry spot in there. We are going to have a lot of action really, really soon. Thank you for listening to Emerald City Sports, the podcast. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but thanks for hanging in there with us for it. We'll see you guys next time. Remember to stay tuned to Seattle Sports, and we'll see you guys later.